From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Governor Greg Gianforte signed a proclamation naming the week of November 15th through November 21st to be Apprenticeship Week in Montana. Find out more.
I'm Joe St. George. President Biden wants more wind turbines in this country, not just on land, but off the shores of America's coast. We explore the policy and the debate next.
Some young folks in Butte volunteered their time to restore an old jet fighter. I'll show you how it turned out coming up.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome. Ooh, what a beautiful shot. That's super cool. 6:30, that's the Community Hospital of Anaconda ICAM, peeking into the mining city.
That's right. Beautiful morning, a lot of wind. Temperatures are beginning to drop in parts of the area, but the skies are trying to clear, at least for a short time.
Noticeably colder outside than it was when I came in this morning.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 31 degrees in Butte, 41 in Belgrade. That cooler air is marching its way across the area, running, I don't know, it's blowing across the area. Temperatures, those aren't temperatures. Those are wind gusts across the area that resemble our temperatures in the region. We are seeing a few scattered showers this morning in the area. Satellite and radar really not doing it justice. We've had a few scattered showers. Temperatures by the afternoon falling very quickly. You want to prepare yourself. The heavier coats, maybe a hat, glove, maybe two gloves. As that colder air starts to move back into place, we're going to talk more about your need for gloves coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, tough decision to make. Should I wear the right one or the left one? I don't know what to do. I'll get back to you, Matt. Thank you. 6:31, our top story this half hour. Apprentice Week kicked off yesterday in Montana with a ceremony at Dick Anderson Construction in Helena. MTN's Tom Buchanan was at the ceremony.
On Monday at Dick Anderson Construction in Helena, Governor Greg Gianforte signed a proclamation declaring the week of November 15th to November 21st to be Apprenticeship Week in the state of Montana. Nearly 50% of projected job growth over the next 10 years will be in apprenticeable occupations. That comes to a little over 30,000 jobs per year. On average, apprentices can earn a little under $60,000 a year. Some types of trades for these apprentices include carpentry, plumbing, electrician, and cybersecurity, among others. In April, Governor Gianforte signed into law the Montana Trades Education Credit. This provides $1 million per year in 50% credits that are given to businesses for their employees to learn a new trade.
We need more carpenters and plumbers and electricians. These are good paying jobs, and yet firms like Dick Anderson are having trouble finding people. So this is why we encourage apprenticeships and why we've allocated money to help people get these skills.
Bill Wiest, former landscaper turned carpenter, started an apprenticeship program 2 years ago at Dick Anderson Construction. Since then, he's learned numerous valuable and applicable skills.
I'm able to do more on the job now, stuff that I didn't know when I started because I knew nothing coming into the business at all. And it helps you get, if you promote yourself and do well, you get your raises. You complete the program, they give you a raise for that. So well-being, you make more money, you learn a ton.
Montana also offers an apprenticeship tax credit for businesses who launch or expand training programs through Montana Registered Apprenticeship Unit. In Helena, for MTN News, Tom Buchanan.
Now, national apprenticeships have seen strong growth over the past decade. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, new apprenticeships grown by 70% since 2011. That amounts to nearly 2 million new ones across the country in the past 10 years. While the numbers dropped last year due to the pandemic, 2020 still marked the third highest year ever for registered programs. And in 2020, Montana had just over 2,000 active apprentices with 790 new apprentices. In other updates, Montana public health officials have updated the state's vaccine dashboard to include children ages 5 to 11. That group added 90,000 eligible Montanans and raised the total number of people eligible to just over 1 million. That means the overall percentage of eligible Montanans shown as fully vaccinated now at 50%, lower than it was last week. That means the total number of eligible Montana residents fully vaccinated comes to about 512,000 people. Total doses administered statewide sits at 1.1 million. And including the younger children, Gallatin County has 57% of its eligible residents fully vaccinated, 60% in Butte-Silverbow. There are 18 new deaths from COVID-19 complications in Monday's report from the State Health Department as well. 9 of those additional deaths happened in November, 9 from October. Those include 2 in Beaverhead County. Gallatin City County Health Department says 3 more Gallatin County residents are dead due to COVID as well. One was a woman in her 70s in the hospital. 2 men in their 70s also died in a hospital. All 3 deaths happened in October. It makes 92 deaths due to COVID so far in Gallatin County. And Dr. Anthony Fauci says all eligible Americans should get their COVID booster shot before the holiday season. White House chief medical advisor spoke out as cases show signs of rising in the Northeast and the Midwest. Dr. Fauci says any increase in cases is the result of the nearly 60 million eligible people who are not vaccinated. Johns Hopkins University reported a 7-day average of 82,000 new daily cases. That's up 11% from the previous week. Well, wind. It may bother you on a good hair day, but the Biden administration believes the country should be doing more to harness its energy. While wind farms have been popping up in more rural areas for years, President Biden would like to see more of them off America's coasts. Our Joe St. George takes a look at the plan and the challenges the president is encountering.
When you go to the beach, you may not be necessarily thinking about wind turbines or renewable energy, but President Biden and this White House is. This is what you need to know. In January, President Biden signed executive orders doubling offshore wind turbine production by 2030. Last month, the Secretary of the Interior announced plans to hold 7 lease sales by 2025 so companies can buy access to waters off of America's coasts. This is a map of all the places more wind turbines are expected in the coming years. But when you actually visit some of the windiest beaches in our country, areas primed for development, you realize offshore wind can get complicated.
You know, the Gulf of Mexico is a big body of water.
James Klein is with the Sierra Club of South Texas. He loves the idea of more turbines, especially in a windy city like Corpus Christi, but he says you can't just build them anywhere.
I don't know if you heard this or not. Corpus Christi is considered, or calls itself anyway, the birdiest city in the country.
Klein is worried about birds that travel through his corridor. They head south for the winter, north for the summer. He doesn't like the idea of a turbine's blade getting in their way.
So we'd want to make sure that wherever these wind turbines are placed, the wind farms placed out in the Gulf, if it goes out in the Gulf, that's not going to interfere with the migratory patterns of birds.
For the non-environmentalists on this stretch of sand, a changing view doesn't bother them as much. Rodney Starr has other concerns.
I don't think that'd be too smart because there's a lot of hurricanes. They'll wipe them things out, I believe.
Rodney and James's viewpoints are part of the challenges that the Biden administration is only beginning to encounter as their wind ambitions grow. Congress continues to debate a spending plan that would incentivize more companies to take on projects in the ocean. But it's still unclear how much of an interest exists, especially having to navigate birds, storms, and not to mention ships. The Biden administration plan for more offshore wind turbines will take several years to implement, so don't expect any major changes on your beach anytime soon. Off the Gulf Coast of Texas, I'm Joe St. George.
6:38 now. I love this next story. Some young people in Butte volunteered their time on Saturday to repaint a historic Korean War era jet fighter on display at the Butte Airport. MTN's John Amy has their story.
You should get a job as a painter, Dad.
It's fun, actually.
It is. I like this.
It's even more fun when you're putting a new coat of paint on an old jet fighter. It's a little more challenging than painting an old fence.
Getting in the small crevices, like right up in there, and probably not getting too many drips. Can't have that.
And it can be dirty work. Now you don't mind that you got some paint in your hair, do you, buddy?
It's not.
You got a little paint.
I'll wash it off later. It's all good.
Members of Butte Civil Air Patrol and the Boys and Cub Scouts of America volunteered their time recently to repaint the time-worn F-86 Sabre jet that's been on display in front of the Burt Mooney Airport in Butte for decades. The F-86 was a crucial fighter during the Korean War.
The MiGs were a little bit outperforming our earliest jet fighter, so this was developed to give a little more competition to those MiGs, and it did very well.
It's cool. I like any type of airplane. Being around any type of aviation or plane, it's cool. It's kind of a happy place, so.
The plane, which was gifted to Butte in 1961, needs plenty of work to restore it.
And for the youth to contribute back to the community and really have some ownership and be proud of their community and the jet and the airport.
The restoration of the old jet fighter is just a part of many improvements that have been going on here at the airport, including this new sign.
It's going to be proud, and also I did that. You know, people, oh, well, Butte painted that thing. I'll be like, yeah, I helped with that. And then I can tell, you know, kids and other family members and stuff.
John Amy, MTN News.
How right you are, Rebecca. That is cool. By the way, this comes after the airport completed its new $10 million terminal in 2018. The airport expected to get a new daily flight to Denver in the new year. Some other headlines this morning from the state. Some Montana residents got a chance to be a part of military history last night. 10's Lindsay Stenger has more on a special event honoring a Treasure State namesake.
I officially enlisted in June of 1958.
Years after the first USS Montana was already decommissioned, Clifford Baird enlisted into the United States Navy.
I just had got out of high school and I needed something to do. And so I figured, well, a friend of mine down on the corner that lived near us talked me into joining the Navy, so I did.
Now, 63 years later, that once fresh blood is among the few asked to ring the bell of the second USS Montana.
Overwhelmed.
Something a 17-year-old Cliff never would have imagined was in his future.
I was really proud.
Although never aboard the original ship, the pride of a Navyman never goes away.
I have really very high respect for these folks.
Over a century after the first ship had already been retired, the second USS Montana is itching closer to recommission. The USS Montana Committee has worked long and hard to find a way to get Montana back on the seas.
She's close to being ready to go to sea. The crew is eager to get to sea with her, and we're proud of what they've done and what the shipbuilders have done to get the Montana where she is today.
With a recommission date hopefully in May of 2022, Montana can look forward to seeing representation on land and under. In Great Falls, Lindsay Stenger, MTN News.
And of course, we'll continue to follow the progress of the USS Montana. Meantime, it is 6:42. We're going to take a break. When we come back,